Okay, clicked in. Can you make me and Bill panelists? Back, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I'm glad on the select board meeting. I can change my name.
So now we have 9,
7's a quorum, right?
I think so, yeah.
but I need 8 for the voting part, like. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the February 4th meeting of the School Building Committee. I would like a motion to open the meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Michelle. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tony. Go ahead. Tony, yay.
Tony, yeah.
Carolyn Casey, yes.
Michelle Kirkby, yes.
Leo? Bill, can you say yes?
Yes.
That was Bill's yes. Okay, the agenda for tonight, we're going to approve the meeting minutes, and then we have a presentation by Andrea French, who is from the Eversource company. Then we're going to discuss the OPM hiring update, where we are in that process. Communication update. I'll take any future agenda topics after that, and then public participation. So starting with the meeting minutes from January 7th, are there any changes anyone would like me to make? Corrections to those? All right, can I get a motion to approve those? Okay, thank you, Leo. And a second? Thank you, Pete. Okay. Carolyn Casey, yes?
Michelle Kirkby, yes.
All right. And we didn't ask Teresa. I just remembered she's on Zoom. We should have asked her. Okay. I can see her picture, but Teresa, when you come on, you want to give us a yes to open the meeting and do the minutes. That's great. All right. So,
Yes.
do you want to introduce?
Yeah, Andrea from Eversource, just wanted to talk to our preparation.
Okay.
I guess I wasn't straightforward in the sense that there's going to be videotape and stuff, so I just wanted to see if there's anything
Oh.
else.
Oh, I just wanted to call and double check.
Yeah.
We didn't go over this with marketing, that it was gonna be filmed, that's all. So-
Oh, okay. Yeah, we always do. We always film it. It's always Zoom, so people can watch it. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, they approved that.
Okay.
They just said, make sure you don't answer any questions you don't really answer.
Okay. Well, this is the seat of honor for you, so
Okay.
come
Yeah,
on up
my
here.
apologies, I'm still kind of getting used to exactly
So-
what the right protocol is, so I should have told her.
That's okay. Well, hello, everyone. I made a much different introduction than I planned. I sent you the slides ahead of time. Are they
For what it's worth, I do have the.
Thank you.
Yeah, send it to me, because I'll give it to the town, assistant town administrator to at least have
Thank you so much.
as meeting materials for tonight,
Fantastic.
for the future.
You can skip me unless you have enough.
I have enough.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, this is the one I lost. Oh, that's the last one? Okay, great. Is it helpful to this or?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
just there to help, so if you can you can stand if you want or sit, but the mic will help your voice get picked up, so.
Okay, I got a lead in a school play when I was in high school because I'm loud naturally, so. Okay, well, on behalf of Eversource, the sponsors of Mass Save, I want to thank you for having me here tonight. Your decision to consider an overwhelmingly efficient, decarbonized school is one to be celebrated and applauded, and I hope that after tonight, we have some good plans to move forward and help you out. I'm Andrea French. I'm an energy efficiency consultant for Eversource. I cover municipal for new construction projects across the state and major renovation, as well as I'm located in Western Mass, so I also cover Western Mass projects. I'm very happy to be here today. So if you flip to the next page of the agenda, these are the 3 key items that I'd like you to take away today. We're here to help you. We have vast resources at Eversource plus Mass Save. We want to be here to complement your processes, work with you and what you're already doing, and help you get some incentive money. Now's the time to set your goals. Since you're early on in your project planning, you could really affect your project's outcome and have your sort of goals set now that kind of keep your eyes on the prize as you go throughout the project. And we're going to go over some of the benefits and costs of the type of projects that our programs incentivize. If you flip to the next page, this is just a few things of the awards that we've received for our programs. #1 in the energy efficiency provider in the nation. So marketing added this when they reviewed the PowerPoint.
Very impressive.
Yes. Okay, next page. I didn't expect to be going through these. These are my notes ones, so here we go. All right, so we are Mass Save. The reason that we include this slide is Mass Save is not its own entity, it's a brand. And I think a lot of people think of Mass Save as being its own thing, but it's a brand that's a collaborative partnership between the companies you see on the bottom left. And the reason we call them program administrators, and the reason that we don't say utility companies, is because CLC, Cape Light Compact, they are a program administrator and they oversee the Cape. So, if we flip to the next side, it's the MSBA process. We good?
Don't mind us. We're
Okay.
just the AV kids in the background.
Okay, okay. It's the MSBA process. I know you guys are going through the MSBA process right now, and you're at the early stage. Our processes are designed and fit well with the MSBA process. We know it well. We can help you at different steps of the process, and a lot of what we do complements what the MSBA would be doing. Like during the feasibility study, we can also take, while you're doing a feasibility study, we can also take a look at your alternatives. You can bring in a technical assistance vendor, take a look at your different options, and help you decide what incentive program might be best, or help you make decisions to maximize your incentives for the project. So just wanted to point that out. And once we move forward past feasibility and schematic design, we help, and throughout the rest of the project. The next page, the next 2 pages should look familiar to you. You were forwarded a couple weeks ago a list of suggestions for your request for services as you go to hire your OPM. I mean, I know this is a little not as relevant to hiring an OPM as maybe it would be to the rest of the project team, but it's just nice to have these sort of things on your mind and in everybody's mind on the project team from the beginning. And I did hear that you voted to include this, so thank you so much. This is sort of the first step in thinking about your goals and what you want out of this project. And I would encourage you to even think even more broadly over what you'd like to get out of your project and make sure you get it into the RFS now. So, the next page after the 2 RFS pages is our 3 different pathways. So the Mass Save new construction and major renovation pathways, they're the same regardless if you choose new construction or major renovation. Our first 2 paths, Path 1 and Path 2, are EUI, low EUI paths, with our Path 1 being very low EUI and net zero. For a school, we already have a prescribed EUI. It used to be 25, now it's 22 because we're finding it's very achievable for schools. That can be done in either a new construction or major renovation setting. Obviously, with a major renovation, there'd be some additional considerations that we'd have to take a look at. But again, I would stress the importance of having us early in the project and we can help you in the feasibility study phase evaluate options.
And EUIs is for...
Oh, that next couple pages, I explained that. I meant to say that. Since not everybody knows what an EUI is, I did a couple pages of a primer. So EUI is compared to miles per gallon metric, but for buildings. So it's your total usage divided by your square footage, which gives you a number. And we have a target number for schools right now through the Mass Save Path 1 new construction program, that's 22. And so we would help you throughout the course of the project get your building modeled and then designed and then designed to the EUI. And that is available through Path 1 and Path 2. If Path 1 and the 22 doesn't feel too achievable to you, we do have Path 2 available, which we would work to set a custom EUI target that felt better. And then another term you're going to hear me use a lot, this says near zero net, and sometimes you'll hear it as net zero. That is buildings sort of, let's just flip to the next page because I think it shows it better. So you'll see that a net zero building includes consumption and production equaling each other. So if you look at the first graphic, you see that if you have too much consumption and then you have solar production, your consumption is going to outweigh it, and you're not going to have this, you're going to have a fat building as this looks. But if you have a nice low EUI and that equals production, that's where you get the net zero, the sort of seesaw. So when you hear net zero or EUI, hopefully this graphic can come to mind and help you sort of understand that. But another way to think about EUI, if you flip to the next page, I hope I'm remembering to tell you to flip the pages. Set an energy budget and stick to it is the slide that we're on. So if EUI doesn't sound like something that you can rally everybody behind, you can call it an energy budget too. And this again is like a goal setting. It helps center on a clear goal. It's a number. Here's our number. Here's what we're going to achieve. And sort of we can make decisions around this number. Okay. So the next slide is why decarbonize your school? Well, you have incentive programs available. You have the MSBA, you have Mass Save. There's advancing technologies that can keep up with going all electric, such as heat pumps for your heating and induction cooking for your kitchens. So the advancing technologies are there. It helps complement state and local policy. And from a sustainability angle, these schools have cleaner air, cleaner energy, and reduced emissions. If we go to the next slide, this is a graphic from Undaunted K through 12. I'm sure some of you are familiar with Sarah Ross and her work. Healthy schools equal happy students. So HVAC systems are a cornerstone of healthy and comfortable schools that support student well-being and academic performance. School students and communities benefit from modern HVAC systems that are all electric and high performance. And school leaders now have a generational opportunity to choose all electric, high performance HVAC systems thanks to new funding opportunities, most notably the Inflation Reduction Act that gave us the IRA tax credit, so we can talk a little bit more about that. Future pages. So we're going to flip now. So the writing on the wall, for those of you who haven't heard of it yet, the LBER, the Large Building Energy Reporting, is now a requirement in Massachusetts. Buildings over 20,000 square feet must report their gas usage, and although there's not penalties associated with it right now, the writing on the wall is sort of the way of Berto and Buto. Eventually, the writing on the wall is eventually penalties will have to be paid. So we're telling people, if you think about it and you go all electric now and sort of move away from gas while you have an opportunity, you're building a building of the future that you don't have to go back and spend a lot of money correcting in the future, especially if you start getting hit with penalties for gas usage. The next page has Mass Safe Path 1 school enrollments to date. You'll see ground source heat pumps have been by far our most popular, representing about 60% of our enrollments. Overall, Mass Safe Path 1 projects have helped nearly 10 million square feet of projects. That equates to 170 American football fields. Go Pats. Okay. Next page. So looking at ground source heat pumps is encouraged. I know that there might have been discussion around this in the past, but I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you geothermal outperforms every other heating type that we see. IRA tax credits, even if you're a non-tax-paying entity, can cover up to 50% of the cost to do it. And if you're unsure about ground source heat pumps, there's two resources you can use. One, when you do your MSBA feasibility study, you can ask them to help you take a look at that as part of that. And two, you can do what's called a desktop review with a geothermal vendor. And I actually had some access to some data for Medfield, and I just wanted to there's a few things about ground source heat pumps we say follow the science. And in Medfield, there's 500 test wells that have already been drilled alone. The test wells reveal that you have high property rock and low water, which is good for drilling. And so your geology and thermodynamic properties are well known. And there's 4 holes alone that have been drilled on Adams Street, where the Dale School is now. So you can call a geothermal vendor and just talk to them without getting too involved, and they have access to a lot of information of these test wells, and they can give you more information. Or you can include, or you can include it as part of your MSBA feasibility study. Okay, and then the next slide shows some financials. This is one of the reasons that we encourage ground source heat pumps, because not only are they very efficient and they have a long life. If you look, the blue, the dark blue is the net cost. And at first, the gas looks like it was less expensive, but when you factor in the tax credits and the incentive of the ground source heat pump, you see that your net cost ends up being almost $2.5 million.
Can I interrupt, or should we wait till the end?
Whatever you prefer.
I just interrupted.
I just did it. You've mentioned about 3 times tax credits. We're a municipality, we don't pay taxes. What are the tax credits that Medfield would benefit from?
Well, if you go back to a couple slides, the other one, IRA tax credits can cover up to 50% of costs plus incentive even when you aren't a tax-paying entity.
Yeah, I don't get that. If we don't pay taxes to the federal government or the state government, what tax credit do we receive?
Well, the IRA tax credit, other schools have received it. I don't know the particulars because we don't get into the accounting. You could look at Undaunted K through 12 does a lot of work on this, and you can speak to sort of the conventional wisdom we have to say is speak to a tax accountant and they can help explain it to you.
They'll explain how the money gets
Yes.
Into our project and somehow helps the town.
Yes.
It's been, there's been some change in the tax law as part of the big beautiful bill. Some of the, like, I don't know the heat pumps for sure, but it's just something we'll have to diligence along the way, and I'm sure it'll change 5 times between now and then. But, like, I know for, like, our business for solar, we had to procure stuff by the end of last year in order to have it qualify, and then there's a runway as long as you've kind of committed to it. So, but like new projects, I think past January 2026 are not currently eligible for what was out there. But again, I don't want to get too caught up with it.
But you're a for-profit business, right? You pay taxes.
We do.
Yep.
Your camera, Ken.
The only good thing I can think of is that Medfield doesn't pay taxes. So I mean, we don't need to stay on this for too long. I just don't see tax credits.
Mike's gonna help.
We're working on a solar project, and the roof project is the middle school at 0 cost for the town because of the incentives. So what happens is that if we don't get the tax incentives, it goes to the company, and in return, we get, a solar project, which is the credits. But so, Bill, you're right, we had to get our project signed by a certain date because the incentive, the federal incentive stopped as of January, there's a specific date in January. So they're not taking any more projects currently through the federal government because those incentives came to an end. So the way it works is we get a discount on our gas, right, 10% discount, for them to put a solar project on our property, and in return, we also get a roof that we don't have to pay. And I can go into more explanation.
Pete, there are a lot of different ways to structure it. One of the cool things about the old program is that the credits were transferable. So you could go out and buy the credits if you wanted to from somebody else at 97 cents on the dollar, pick up the arbitrage. It's complicated, I would say, for us in this committee. Like I said, by the time we go to procure and what the system that we want, like things may change, so I wouldn't get too caught up in it today. But it's certainly, as we think about cost benefit as we go into the future, it's something as a committee we'll have to discuss. Is that?
The tax credit would go in this case to the vendor. That's correct. Piece is yes, because I just bought them 90 cents on the dollar for 3 years. But yes, the tax would be passed through, the savings would pass through to us, to the vendor for that to get installed, depending on whatever the scenario was. In the scenario of the rooftop unit, the roof, they're gonna take care of all the sales of bricks and everything else. We get a locked-in rate.
They get the credits.
Yeah, they get the credits, they have to maintain them, which is a big deal. They have to maintain those pieces, and so on and so forth.
It's complicated. Like, there's a lot of parts, pieces go into it, and
I like
at some point we'll
I like your version.
educate, debate.
Let them take it.
Okay.
Probably
So
not
was
tonight.
it basically the solar ones that ended, or did the tax credits for anything you do green end
Any green incentive right now,
is all stopped?
and
Okay.
we would be the last project to go into the, what do you call it, like, construction phase. And we'll be the first public entity to go through this program.
Now, I will add to that, Eversource has their own funding source as well, because I'm applying for a grant in my district for projects including LED lighting in one of my buildings, noise reduction systems in the power usage, and so on, because power makes noise evidently, and that is through Eversource. I am actually applying for that. That's due mid-February. So there are incentives. I'm assuming that this is built into these scenarios, and probably new construction carries their own type of incentives, which is why she's here today, I guess.
Yeah, like I don't want to hype it.
Yeah.
Like things are going to change. Like for tax, for reimbursement, for governmental policy. Like as we go along the way, like we should be open-minded and take advantage of every opportunity we can. And we appreciate everything that's out there that we can take advantage of.
Yeah, the way I understand it is with the big beautiful bill, there were cutoffs for solar, but geothermal is still on the table. So there's a chart on Undaunted K through 12, and you can also, if you do a quick Google search, you can find out schools that have already gotten the IRA tax credit. You can call some of them, ask them what their process looks like. We don't, obviously I'm not qualified to give tax advice, so I'm just here to tell you what we've seen and heard from other projects and what we know. Oh.
Was Pine Hill one of the advantage of grant source?
I did not do Pine Hill. I started on this team a year ago. I'm not sure. If you just did a fast Google search right now, you'd see what the list was. But if they are, I drove by them on my way over here. What a beautiful school. Okay, our next slide has our heat pump incentive rates. So you'll see we do offer, we have additional incentives in our pathways, but the bulk of our incentive tends to be our heat pump incentive. So I just wanted to show you sort of the difference between ASHP is air source heat pump, VRF is variable refrigerant flow, and ground source heat pump is GSHP. At the end, you'll see we have the highest incentives available for ground source. And it goes on a per ton basis. Okay, so the next slide, post-occupancy and verification incentives. So if you remember from our 3 pathways, our path 1 and our path 2 are low EUI pathways. Those both come with a verification component, and our path 1 comes with a post-occupancy component. So what that means, and I know Pine Hill's doing this as well, is when you go path 1 and you do this low EUI, we stay with you for a year after the the school gets occupied, and we help you measure and manage. We bring in a verification vendor that takes a look, and the cool thing about this is you can get everybody down to the students involved. And we have this low EUI school. It can become an educational opportunity. I've recently talked to a program called Energy Detectives. They're free books that you can order to sort of do supplementary stuff to help the students understand and hopefully kickstart a career in this industry would be always my hope. That's what I hope for my kids when they listen to me about this stuff. I know it doesn't always work that way. So we found a lot of success in our post-occupancy incentive. We've seen up to $150,000 of utility bill overspend that we've been able to correct by bringing in a vendor that helps. So what your model DUI, getting to your model DUI takes some tweaks. Oftentimes you find systems that are running overnight and when they shouldn't be, and so we bring somebody in who takes a look and helps get your building fine-tuned, teaches everybody how to sort of exist in a building with a low EUI and keep it low EUI to stay. So that's one of the hallmarks of our Path 1 program is it's sort of, we try to make a more like relational market transformation shift. And so my final slide before we go into any more questions we have is I just wanted to reinforce the 3 key takeaways. We're here to help. We can complement your efforts. We can help you. We can bring in a TA vendor. That would be my suggested next step is when you're ready to start looking at options, or even if you want to talk to somebody, we have Z&E vendors, zero net energy vendors that we can bring in. So we're here to help. We can help answer questions. If you want to get connected to anybody at Eversource, I'm here as a resource for you. And we want to complement what you're doing already. Set your goals and budgets and targets now. Early. This is the time to sort of get the project that you envision and you want for the students in the community. And healthier schools equal happier students, and we have programs to support you getting there, as well as we can help connect you to other programs that help. So that's everything. I'm here for more questions.
So it comes to the end of these, the heat source becomes the biggest kind of variable in the design, or like, well, if you talk about like the top 3 decisions you're gonna make, is it the heat source, the
AC.
yeah, HVAC, other?
Yeah, so if you see this, this might be helpful too. I gave you guys this. Oh, it doesn't have as much on here. So I know especially because I'm being filmed, I don't want to say anything that would be up to an engineer to say, but I know when it comes to considering the EUI of your building work, so like in a major renovation scenario, things that affect the EUI could be the orientation of the building, how the sun is, what are we working with? So in a major renovation scenario, it could be a little bit trickier sometimes to get there because we want to play with the orientation of the building. We want to play with how the building's laid out and what that means on the property. So I know that comes into consideration with Path 1. I know HVAC is huge. The reason I thought that this had a list of sort of the ECMs we look at in Path 3. Oh, it is there. Okay. So if you see customer incentives on the back where it has the different things, those are the different things we look at that provide incentive opportunities. So those are the sort of heavy hitting categories. Do you see that?
Yep.
Okay. There. Whew. I thought that was there. Yes.
I mean, I guess I would venture when it comes to conventional heating, it's a lot of the time the most energy is going to be consumed just by bringing in the cold air that's outside in our climate and heating it up to the temperature that it needs to be to serve the school properly, and then taking advantage of the warm air that's being exhausted from the ductwork, from the distribution systems, that's called energy recovery. So yeah, essentially, heating up that outside air is, would probably be the biggest energy consumer. So yeah, heating. And that would of course change if we were in a different climate zone, but here we're in a, it's primarily cold throughout the year, so.
From anybody? I'm really curious, with the new schools that have been built and using these new heating mechanisms and the weather we are experiencing right now, how is that affecting the schools? Because there's a limitation as to what you can do when it reaches these zeros and below zero temperatures.
I would encourage you to ask Pine Hill how it's going for them. I guess you guys did a tour, I was told, and yeah, I would call around, ask how it's going. I'm working on new projects moving forward. I haven't unfortunately talked to some of our older projects. I know we have some research things in the works where we're collecting sort of lessons learned.
Okay.
So that'll be helpful. We'll actually have more on that. But I would call Pine Hill, see how it's going for them. Call, if you Google the different schools that got ground source heat pumps, you can, if you know anybody at any of those, call and see how it's going. But from what I've heard is, because when we've talked to geothermal drillers, they said, the fact that the constant temperature, the temperature is constant underground, so it doesn't really get affected by the surface temperature. They're digging down deep enough. So I do know that comes into play with helping sort of maintain the systems and their ability to serve the buildings. But yeah, that would be what I'd tell you. I think that would be helpful to sort of understand what are they seeing. Because they don't, a lot of these places don't have, they have diesel, you can have backup diesel systems for Path 1, but it's for emergency use only. I can get you guys MOUs too, memorandums of understanding for our different pathways, if that would be helpful. I just didn't want to overwhelm you with information that sort of have like what's allowed and what's not allowed.
I will say too that I just know from my friends being at Pine Hill the first year, it took them a year to get that temperature. You want to stay at a certain number, and it took about a year to kind of work out the kinks.
Okay.
And there were some really hot days, and you can't open windows or anything.
Right.
But it eventually had been really smooth. I actually just texted a couple of people asked, how's the cold weather over there? But it did take a while for them to work it out so that it was sort of that same temperature every day. And I think when we went to Ashland, didn't we mention that at Ashland too, that it took some time to work out during that first year to get to the temperature every day, no matter what it is outside.
If somebody opened the window and threw everything off.
Yes.
And then I'm curious from a geothermal perspective, looking at the footprint behind us and knowing that there is a massive field. Like Ashland has a huge piece of property to the left of their structure. Do you have, when you look at geothermal, are there open space requirements to meet the necessity for wells?
I think you would get a lot out of talking to a geothermal driller, just talking to one, because I know there's different types of drills, or like wells that they can drill based on what they're working with. So I would encourage you to do that.
I heard it's recommended not to put it under your building.
Okay.
It's under the parking lot at Pine Hill.
Is that where it is?
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's good. That's a smart way to do it. Okay.
I went to, the Agawam is doing it too, and they had an event there. And I don't know if you guys were on the invite list, we tried to get an invite out, but with the MSBA, we went and we toured the Agawam geothermal drilling. It's incredible. If you can get out and see it in action, it's incredible to see it.
Anything else? Somebody on the committee? Okay. Hey, thank you very much for coming in and presenting with us.
Yeah, my card's on here, so get in touch and let me know what sort of options you'd like to explore, and I can help connect you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It's an acronym for everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Next on the agenda tonight is the OPM subcommittee and how that's going. So the document that we had to fill out for MSBA regarding the hiring of the OPM, we had sent them that draft that you guys saw in January. They came back with what they called considerations, and then Michael did yeoman's work there, having to respond to all the considerations, and then it goes back to them, and then came back to us, and back to them, and back to us. And all of that resulted in me changing the schedule of the OPM process several times. So for those who are on the committee, which is John, Bob, Leo, and I, and Michael, and Jeff, which I think I checked with a lot. Currently what I have for the schedule is that on the OPM responses are due at 1 o'clock on the 19th of February. And if we can, I'd like to meet at 5 o'clock in this room on Thursday to go over those, start going over those responses. That's a Thursday, and it is school vacation week. And then if we can't finish it in a night, I have this room booked all day Friday, even into Friday evening. So, you know, if you could keep those times open, if they work for everybody.
A day and a half to.
Well, I
select
didn't
the
know. I
finalists?
just wanted
to
to.
select the finalists.
Yeah, I just didn't. I had no idea how long it would take, and I didn't because the schedule got so compressed.
I recommend we score them ahead of time before coming together, and then come together for one meeting to discuss the scoring.
Do we need, though, to have a meeting to just learn about the scoring and make sure we're all scoring them on a similar in a similar manner?
We could do that, and we could do that before the 19th to review the criteria and what that criteria means.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not available on the 20th.
Okay.
Because I'm doing conference.
That's fine.
So my daughter's a senior.
Okay.
We're finishing it. So I'll be available on the 19th. But I do agree with Leo. I think if you want to, we can go through the whole process. And then technically the scoring should be done individually. Just so, I mean, Leo has the spreadsheet. You go in, you do it individually, so you're not encouraging someone to vote a certain way.
Okay.
And then with those, I will gather all that information. Once we have all that information and we have the scores, I think we should meet to go over, you know, how the votes came out and where, you know, your top 3 or 4 are.
Okay.
And then from there we have a discussion. We can have a discussion after.
So should we then plan a meeting before the 19th and use the night of the 19th? You said you can't do the 20th.
Yeah.
Okay, and then use the night of the 19th for that final thing where
So
we
you
will
won't,
score.
you won't have the responses are due on the 19th, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so you won't have them to even review until the 19th.
Okay,
So the digital
So-
responses are gonna come. If you'd like to have a meeting to review the criteria, kind of like level set to us all, it's like, you know, and I could give a sample response.
yes.
And we
Okay.
could review a sample response and then go through the criteria. We could do that together. I'm happy to set up the sheet, the
Yes.
scoring sheet for everybody on the committee. And then as the responses, the folder that comes in, have them put the responses in that folder. So, and then you would have all that information. And then when it's time to go public with that information, you can just make that information public. So that's one reason to do that. And then once we all, once we all have had a chance, we do a level set meeting. We can do that next week if you want, or whenever, 1 hour together on a Zoom, just to review, and I think I shared my whole folder with you, Michael, right?
I have the spreadsheet.
Yeah, but I think I shared all the responses too. And if not, I will happily share all the responses from our project, and you can see what an OPM response will look like. They're lengthy and they've got a lot of information. But again, you can kind of read through them and know what to look for. And then when they all come in on the 19th, someone can send an email, you or I can send an email and say, okay, all the responses are in there. Between now and whatever date we say, please review them, score them. If you have any questions, send them directly to one person, and then we meet. Scores can be changed when we meet, but we can go ahead and review them all. And then Michael can aggregate them, and then we have, let's say we have 10, we'll see them, we'll score it, they'll all be scored based on responses. And then we decide top 4, top 3, depending on if there's only 3 that scored really high, there might be just 3. If there's 5 that are really high and the rest didn't make it, we may decide to interview 5. But then that day long, a whole day long would be the in-person interviews. Did we set a date for the in-person interviews?
We did, we sent the 26th, but if we do
Okay.
it that way, I'm just saying that we don't have enough time
Sure.
to choose the finalists and let them know.
The 20th, if they've already cleared the 26th. If you said it's the 26th, they've all got the 26th cleared.
Okay, then we,
And we let them know, we can let them know by Friday afternoon if you want to do it on Thursday.
It's your choice how you want to do it. From my end, I just have to gather all the information. I have to notify,
well, I just don't, if he's not here the 20th, I just don't see how that gets gathered and out to people.
It's just an email or a phone call. I mean, I hand called them all. And then, right when it was done.
On the 19th, so just, we said we're gonna have electronic.
Yeah.
We are asking for more hard copies, anyone, until we have a hard copy. But I can put that on that spreadsheet as they come in, I can link it.
Okay.
Spreadsheet, so everyone has access to the information. And then you can start your scoring, see that you're gonna have a spreadsheet, it's gonna be locked, you're gonna go in, you're gonna start reviewing, you're gonna start scoring. I can see it live as you're filling it out.
Oh, okay.
I can. And then, once, so let's say Leo hasn't done his on Saturday, I can send him an email saying, Leo, you need to go in and,
So let's say by the end of that weekend, the 29th, everyone has to have all their scores in so you can look at it.
Yep.
And then is that enough time for you to figure out
Yep.
the top 3 and note, or 4 or 5?
Yeah, it's and I would turn around to you guys, okay, this five came up as your top 5. Do you want to meet and narrow that down to 3? Do you want to keep it at 5? That's going to be the committee's decision at that point.
Okay. So I'm going to sort of put it in your hands then to tell us, because if we were going to interview 4 or 5, we might need more than one day.
So
I booked 2 o'clock on the 26th, so at 45 minutes, you just do the math there.
And that's what I'm saying, so the committee might say, we don't want to interview 5.
Yeah.
We want to only interview 4.
and the Friday was off. Stuff does happen. You can always move that date. You just need to schedule with them. But if you said the 26th in the RFS, then what's
It's a
that?
Thursday. The 26th is a Thursday.
I think it depends on the scoring, where the scoring lands. But as they come in, Michael can put them in a digital folder as they come in. They won't all come on the 19th. I mean, there's been plenty of time. They know this project's out there. They've probably been prepping their documentation.
Okay.
And frankly,
Well, we have a deadline. So if they
on the
don't,
19th, right?
if they don't meet the deadline, which is like noon time on the 19th, they don't come in.
Right, but as they're showing up, they could come in on the 17th, and you could be putting them in.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So let's pick that first Zoom meeting for you to teach us how to use the documents and scoring.
That's scary, but okay.
And you said on Zoom.
I think Zoom is,
Christine, help me with that. If it's on Zoom, and is it a public meeting? Is this a subcommittee meeting?
yeah, we do post.
So
If you're a subcommittee, yeah.
okay, so I gotta post the Zoom link, and anyone who wants to join can join.
Yep.
Okay. So everyone's gotta look at their calendars, because guess what works kind of legal for you, since
I mean, Wednesday at 7 next on the 11th work?
it's one day I can't do.
That's why I picked it. No, just,
It's my anniversary, I'm going to know.
Well, I don't need to go to the high school PTO, right? It never happens on time anyways, usually.
Can you do in the middle of the day?
I can. Yep. Do you want to do, can anyone do Tuesday at 2? Tuesday the 10th?
I can, John? Bob? All right, so Tuesday, what time?
2 o'clock
can't
or
do
2 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
I can't do the Tuesday because we have the walk for Pennsylvania.
At 10. But how about 2? You think the walk through?
Yeah, 2 is fine, 2 p.m. is fine.
Okay, so Tuesday the 10th, 2 o'clock. And wait, what day are we on? On the 4th. I will need to get that posted Friday. So I'm gonna need to post that. And how do I, like, post it as a Zoom link if Leo is sort of directing it? I'll just have a
You just log in
agenda,
and
we'll
let
all
me in.
log in like we normally do.
Yep.
Okay.
Just, yeah.
Okay, OPM, I'm gonna call it a training session. How about that? 2 o'clock, and it's gonna be Zoom. On Tuesday. Yes. Yes.
Couple questions. So, should we anticipate 6 or 26? How many responses are we going to be looking? Any clue?
I got 9
Okay,
or 10.
all right.
10, I can go look.
And also, as they come in, are there any that you look at and say, up, not responsive, this one's out? Do they get kicked out before they even get to us?
Stack them up at the top of the staircase and you push them down. And the ones that are at the top, those are the ones you take, and then, no, I'm just kidding.
Just give zeros. Can you just give like
Give
zero?
No, I'm assuming there might be 1 or 2 that do not respond appropriately, and they're just not considered. You throw them
yeah,
out.
we'll pick
You don't
those.
even waste your time on them.
Yeah, we'll be able to identify those. Michael can screen some of that too on the way in too, like if,
Just,
Yeah.
if you can
Like if
eliminate
he
2
asked for
because
4
they
hard
filed up their
copies,
response,
and
you
they only
boot them.
sent 1 hard copy, that's a reason, right? Yeah, they kind of, yeah.
So does it work once we've learned how to do it and what we're doing? And I know you explained it as a document, everyone has their own tab. So once
I'll walk through that.
Yeah,
I'll
once
walk.
respondents start coming in, if I wanted to, on the 15th or 16th, I could score some, because they'll be in a folder. I don't have to wait till the 19th.
Correct.
Correct, that's right. Once you
Like,
get it
once
and
they're
you
in the
understand it,
folder,
and
yeah.
Michael puts them in the folder, I'll share that folder at that meeting. I'll make sure you all can see the folder. I'll share it through my Medfield account so that,
I'm sending you a copy
of the, okay, the scoring.
of it. I'll send it right now.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So I'll sit in front of the TV tonight and get it kind of set up. So, and then everybody will just, it's really, does go really quickly
Okay.
as far as the setup process goes. But I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I had 11. No, 10. I had 10 responses. We had about the same size number of scores, and the scoring sheet, kind of odd to show it, but it's like a spreadsheet, and you each get your own tab, and the top tab is the aggregate scoring for everybody, and you, or I have an aggregate tab, and you can then decide who's going to get what, out of that aggregate. And we'll review that when we meet. So, and we can decide then if you want to do just another Zoom meeting to decide on it,
So should I let go the dates I booked this room? Are you saying I don't need these dates?
No, why don't you wait for now?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll ask another one of my picky questions. So this isn't like your typical RFP where they've got until the 19th at noontime,
Yep.
and nobody touches anything until noontime, and then they're all opened in public in front of everybody. We
No,
can
do
start
not do
doing
that,
these,
Yeah, 'cause
because
you-
that's how my
yes,
history of doing
the
these things.
RFP, yes,
Yes.
that part did that.
You have to wait until the time, you open them in public, They're all announced,
Correct. Everyone may
so
ask.
we don't have to do that.
Everyone may ask who has submitted. And
Yep.
that part I made public along the way. So, and I just did that for full transparency. So, and our MSBA didn't have any problem. The difference between that is no pricing coming on this.
Yes,
Yes.
yep.
So, and this RFS, which is odd because standard RFS generally has pricing, but MSBA has their own way. RFS doesn't have any pricing on this. The pricing comes after the fact.
Okay.
Or we pre-advertise it. That's what we can do when we do the design. We can say, this is how much we have
This
for the
is what we got.
design. This is what you're gonna get if you win the project. So bid accordingly.
We did advertise it though.
No, we did, okay. So everyone knows what they're getting. So there's no surprises.
Okay, no, that's just, I know that was very hard and fast. You don't
Yeah.
touch those things until everybody's there. It's all open at once.
Fair.
Ta-da.
That's fair.
But,
And I
great.
believe you're working with Ben to run this, right? Is that
The,
this process? Wait, someone's.
yeah, yeah. I'm teaching that.
When Michael tells us they're in there, then we'll all go in and look. But between now and then, we'll get all the infrastructure set up so we know what it all looks like. We know where to put your scores. Please don't score if they haven't received one yet. You know? I'm just kidding. And then you should be good to go, on that. I made, links to certain, their websites, so you can go look at their websites. You can do all kinds of things. You can Google them and see what happened. You can do all the research in the world on any of these folks. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of the similar folks who bid on our project as well, so.
All right, so the date to keep open is the 26th, and if we started a first interview at 2, I would expect people to show up like 1:30, just so we all, set up where we're gonna sit and where the interviewer's gonna sit and who's gonna get what and who's gonna ask what questions. We might, if we have time, Leo, also think of the questions for the candidates.
Correct. I think that's something we could absolutely discuss at the think about, and then when we pick the finalists, we should flesh out the questions.
Yeah.
I'll dig up the ones I had, obviously.
26 will be the ones to select the top 5.
No, 226 is the interviews
And the actual interviews for the top.
of the top 5.
Of the top.
Oh,
Yeah, or top 4.
And then,
that's what I mean. Are you interviewing 3 or 4 on the 26th?
Yeah.
Yes.
yes,
Right.
Candidates,
yes.
you're going to interview on
Right.
the 26th.
And then we pick the person that comes out top of the list from
Mhm.
those interviews. And then, Mike, I'm assuming you and Jeff will be negotiating with the top person?
So, what we'll do is, because we have to still go to the MSBA meeting and all that.
Right.
So once that has been done, then we go back and we will negotiate. Yes.
Oh, we negotiate after the MSBA?
Yeah, so you guys are gonna select, we
Okay.
submit that, we
I
submit.
thought it was the other way
we-
around.
I think we submit your first and second, Leo, is it still 1 and 2 we submit to MSBA?
Yeah, I think you have to submit all your scoring.
All your scoring, but
Yeah.
your number 1 and number 2.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And then we go through that process, and then, once we get the whole blessing, we go to negotiate.
Is there a date that we have to give them the top in March to get on that April meeting? Do we have,
Yeah.
Yes.
so there's a cut date?
That's
yeah.
why that timeline was set by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
and
fast.
tight.
We had to
It's
back
fast, yeah.
into the advertising, but that was their timeline.
Yeah.
In order to meet that date.
And it's
Right.
pretty tight. That's a tight.
Yeah,
we're
it's
on
very
a tight
tight, it's very
timeline.
fast, very tight. Okay.
So yeah, that sounds. I know it sounds like a lot, right? By 5/26, we're awarding a contract, but we're selecting. Then they either approve our selection, or they don't. Or they weigh in on our selection, depending on the scoring. And our scoring was close. We could have had a 5th. They were only 5 points below the 4th place one, but we really wanted to be hard, fast, and interviewing 4. So we picked the top 4. So, and I think we had them at 45 minutes. Yeah. I know,
That
it's a
sounds
lot.
good. We were thinking of
Speed dating.
I mean,
Usually 45
during the
minutes.
day, it's tough for me, so,
Yeah.
I'll see how my day goes. Yeah, I agree.
Just has to be the same people. I mean, if we need to push it to a Friday or.
Friday's tough, but just pick,
Yeah,
Do it,
okay.
and it's, you can access by Zoom.
Yeah, though
Yeah.
the interviews are still the subcommittee. They're
Oh,
not
good.
they're
Oh,
not
all
the
right,
full
perfect.
committee. Sorry, I wasn't clear
Yeah,
about that.
interviews are still the subcommittee.
It's still the subcommittee.
Yeah.
Subcommittee scores, interviews,
I know it was.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, okay.
the Subcommittee. And then, again, the MSBA guides this, it's a very scripted process.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and they may say, I don't like your top choice. You know, we've heard bad things, you know. In our designer process, one of our top choices was not favored by MSBA because they won the Brockton project, which is it's a $1 billion school. So they figured that their resources would be stretched too thin to put enough time into our project, and therefore didn't weight them as higher in their opinion. So it is subjective even from that perspective.
All right. Any questions from people not on the subcommittee about it or the process or things you would like us to think about or know?
Not so much about the process, but I mean,
It's out there already, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Are there any common themes that are coming back from like questions or inquiries? Yeah.
We wouldn't necessarily have the full scope.
Today?
Coming up today.
Oh, it went out today. Okay. Okay. And
Central Register, OSD, and website.
Yeah, and then local.
And the other piece is the walkthrough next week on Tuesday. When people ask questions, we have to do responses, and then we have to share that with anyone who has shown an interest. So that's another thing that's happening, along with the scoring of people who do send their paperwork in. Next Tuesday at 10 at Dale. And anybody on the committee who would like to go can go. I am going to go. I'd like to walk through in here, but
When's that, Tuesday at 10?
yeah, Tuesday at 10.
Is that a walkthrough of Dale Street to show them the project and what grounds they're working on?
Yeah. And then they ask questions, they all have to be recorded, the questions, and then we have so many days to give responses to the questions. And even if you ask, I have to give it to everybody, the response, even if I didn't ask it.
If they email you questions and answer them, those have to be responded to
And then the
everybody as
state
well.
audits all that to make sure that everybody's getting the same information.
You hand that to
cut
the
out.
state.
You have to, it's part of the package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to hand them all the questions, right, answer the questions. The scores, the questions you ask.
One way to do it is
Responses.
just publish it as it comes, right? In that folder, you have the questions and answer sheet. So as those questions come in, you copy and paste it in with the answer, real time, when it came in and the whole bit. So it's who asked it and who did it. And you're just publishing that information right in that folder, so it's always public, always available. At least that's how I did it, just mainly so I wouldn't forget to do it,
Yeah.
so it wouldn't fall through the cracks. And this is a big deal for us because once we get an OPM on board, they help us stay on track, right? And cross all the T's and dot the I's to get us, where we need on the designer selection process. So that part's really important, and that's why it's really great for us to get that OPM on board. Because they do a lot of the work.
So in an ideal world, what would be the date that we would potentially have an OPM signed up and ready to go?
In April, yeah.
So we're on the MSBA committee agenda for, I think it's April 6th.
Okay, I remember okay.
So that would be the day that they greenlit our decision, and then theoretically you sign the contract after that, so, I don't know, at some point we'll talk about, if we have a meeting right after that, or we push
Right,
back our April meeting
so
off the first
we
week.
Yeah. Well, they say, yes, we're okay with your first choice, and then you have to negotiate, so that will take a few days. So,
But they know what the money is, right? You're not really negotiating the cost because that's already been determined?
They could offer less.
I thought the negotiation happens before the April meeting, according to the timeline.
no, we can't negotiate with a person because MSBA has to approve it.
You prove it, then you can negotiate it. Then it goes up to Christine and select board or whoever to sign it.
It says interview shortlist, and then negotiate. You'd select the response after the interviews. It says negotiate with selected respondent. Selection submitted to MSBA after that, and then OPM review panel meeting is the 6th of April. So I think you choose your short list, you negotiate with them, you submit it to the MSBA at the first week of March, and then it goes in front of the panel on, 4 weeks later.
All right, well, that's different. So which way is it? Is it we negotiate and then we?
Leo's done it.
We
the
had a
last time we did
preset.
it- The last time we did it, we went in, you rank your programs, you go into number 1, you go into number 2. Back then, you had to physically go into Boston. Chris, you were there. And then they talk about it, and then they give you either the green light or the red light on your number 1. If they don't, you move on to your number 2.
Yeah.
And then after that was done, we went and we negotiated with, with the company.
We didn't have to negotiate because we had already settled on what the cost was. So we advertised it. So unless there was a reason to negotiate something else out of it.
Okay.
There was a lot more negotiation with the designer than there was with the OPM. Why would you not get your number 1?
So, you should ask it in this.
Yeah, no.
When we went in for, so we got, did we get our number 1? I don't remember if we got our number 1. Okay, we did not get our number 1 nor our number 2 for the designer, nor our number 3. The designer we got was like our number 4 or 5.
Really?
Because we only have, they have 7 votes, I think, and we have 2? I can't remember. I can't remember.
So they can steer business as they choose.
Basically, yes.
I mean, that's what they're doing, right? If you're asked for that, they say, no, we're not gonna give you them, we're gonna give you these guys. They're just basically, but they just, my interpretation would be, how much friction is there gonna be? If it's like you're number 8, you're like, that's not really what the town's looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember,
remember
I've
going
done it
back
in the
and
past,
forth.
when I went with, when we've been in, because I did 2 projects with them. The first one, on the designer, we got our number 1. The second time, we got our number 2. And then, I think they were our number 5, if I'm not mistaken.
I liked them, but I didn't think it was,
That's crazy.
I didn't think they didn't get their number 1 either. I remember going a few rounds in that room. I do remember sitting up there, and we're a minority in the group. But I remember it was down between PM something or other, or Dorn Whittier. Dorn Whittier.
And they didn't award it to Dorn Whittier because they had too many projects.
Yeah, that does weigh. The same thing with Public. It was KBA that was our number 1, and they were against KBA because they had a big project that was just awarded.
Well, can you find that out when you're going through the process, so you don't actually get excited to have a number 1, and then you find out?
No, because it depends when you go into the queue. So like that day, were we number 3 that day? It was like 5 schools that were going in front of us.
Oh, and they
It
may
was a lot.
take people like
And
you
then,
want.
so number 1, I think Dorn Whittier got one of the first 2 projects that were in front of us. And then.
It's like
I
fantasy
think it was
football.
Lawrence. I think it was Lawrence Public Schools.
Was it?
I think that superintendent I knew when she was
I
there.
can't remember, but I know that so you're in queue.
Got it.
And I don't know how it is now, is that now? But you literally would be waiting outside, they would call you in, you would come in, you would sit at this big table, and then they would go through back and forth. And then we find out at the table who the designers that were selected prior to us. But there were people who liked us also.
Interesting.
It's good process. And it's work, but
Are we, everybody set then? And where we are in the process, it all makes sense to the dates, okay? All right. I'd ask the people on the subcommittee just to watch your email, because if I gotta change some things, right, that's how I'll be reaching out, just so you know, okay? If I have to make some changes.
Carolyn, do you want to copy the whole committee on those, just so that people,
Sure. I'd be happy to,
and
yep.
sitting in, they can come.
Yep,
show
I
up.
will send emails to everyone, so everyone knows what we're doing. Just, I don't want anyone to think understand it's for the subcommittee, but I'll send it to everyone, so everyone's up to date as to where we are in the process.
Yeah, like I'm not on the committee, but I'm gonna try to show up when I can.
Yep. Okay. All right,
Just only one other thing.
yes.
And if we attend the walkthrough, I assume that there's 1, 2, or 3 people that are gonna be answering the question. And you don't want a lot of input from everybody else.
We will say
Stand there and
nothing.
shut your mouth and listen.
That's right, because
Yes.
if they
Right.
ask you a question and
And
you
you
answer it,
answer
Mike
it.
doesn't hear it,
Right.
it really needs to be one person that's leading that walkthrough, taking
Exactly.
the questions. If he's got a note taker, that's nice to have someone
Yep.
there who's taking the notes on the questions, and then getting back. And if you're able to answer right there, you're welcome to answer it, but write down the question and the answer.
So
Yeah, right.
zip,
So that,
zip the lip and keep the ears open, and that's it.
Yeah, and they go through the history of the building.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, there's one spokesperson.
Yeah, you don't need a lot of.
And if you want me to be this, I can be this.
Yes, I do. I absolutely want you or Steve or whoever really knows the building. And I just thought of us as coming to learn and hear, but not to be leading or talking or answering questions or anything.
I mean, you could talk to people, but the questions all need to be funneled, and it's generally the MCPPO person who's running that to really, just to make, because legally they're the ones that are the point person.
Yep, that makes sense.
So, I'm more just, it all depends on who shows up. How many questions you have.
Okay. Thank you.
I know there's already a designer sniffing around because they were emailing already.
Communication update is next on the agenda. I was going to have a neighborhood captains meeting to talk to you about it, except it snowed. And I had to cancel that. Town hall is closed. So, I haven't set up the next one because of all the scheduling with this OPM subcommittee. Just wasn't ready, to pick another night for the neighborhood captains, so. I hope to have it before the March meeting, to have met with the neighborhood captains and give you some feedback on where they are in the process. And helping us, the questions that you asked me last time. Any questions about the communication? Anybody wanna say or add anything to that? All right, and then future agenda topics, is there anything you would like me to know or put on the agenda?
OPM selection update.
Yep. That I will continue to put on, okay?
Just kidding.
All right, and so, public participation, any questions? I'm gonna look on Zoom, any questions here? No questions there. No questions, Chris? Okay, well, will I hear a motion to adjourn it?
Carolyn,
Anybody else
it sounds like the March meeting then would be pretty light on agenda. Like, is there something that we need to be thinking about? That we need to be researching or, get educated on for the next step?
Well, the two continuing things are, do we want to visit some more schools? We decided wait till the weather got better, but, picking a date to visit something.
The OPM is going to arrange a lot of that too.
Yeah.
For the whole committee, they're going to, and the designer. The designer's going to do that with you as well. They're going
You're also going to do tours?
The designer's going to go to tours with you because they're going to want to see your reaction, and you're going to be going on tours with teachers and people from the community to all go and take in sites on your own. So I just went to 3 schools last week. Pine Hill, I feel like I've worked there. I've been there so often. But everyone's going to go through, and the committee's going to be invited, and there's going to be people going to visit and look at these schools with educators, right? So you're seeing their approach and what they feel and think, because they're going to have input as well. So there will be opportunities to.
All right, so communication.
I was gonna say, along that line, Chris Potts, 7 Grove Street, one of the things you guys could talk about at that March meeting is just start to sketch out what kind of public forums you're gonna wanna have, community forums you're gonna wanna have, and just generally when you might wanna do them.
That will also be handled with the OPM and the designer process. So, and there will be a person specifically hired as part of the designer process to lead those forums.
Yeah. So are you thinking skipping the meeting? Teresa, am I reading into what you're?
I think in March, then you're gonna have to talk about, the school board, with the committee, right? So.
Well, I guess the one point of clarification, interviews are on the 26th. They still get scored then from the interviews, so when is the actual selection
So-
or recommendation?
We will have the 4 finalists we score, and then we take that and that's what we submit moving forward to SBC. So
That scoring from the interviews will happen that night?
yeah, right then and there, yep.
Okay.
I
So
would
we will-
recommend just getting it done.
Right, so that decision will be done on the 26th at the end of the interviews.
Yeah. Whiteboard, big grid.
So is it okay publicly, so that's the Thursday, the next Wednesday is our meeting, is it okay publicly to say, the names of the people we came up with?
If we're submitting them to the MSBA, you're just informing the committee on how it went.
How it went.
And how you scored them and why you scored, you know, from A, you know, one from, how your rankings came to
Yeah.
be. You're just informing the committee, right?
Okay.
That's all you're doing, because the committee, at the end of the day, right, has a say on the process. So you want to bring it back to the committee from the subcommittee and explain what your process was and how you got to.
I believe we voted it.
Yeah, and you do, at the end of the day, you have to vote.
But the interview is our executive session. The interview is our executive
Okay,
session.
that's super important, I did not have that in the agenda. So we are gonna vote on that first meeting in March after we share all the information on whether the whole committee supports the subcommittee's list.
Yes.
Okay, that needs to be
Okay.
written down for me.
The interview is on the 26th,
where
is
they
an
do.
executive session, just as an FYI, so they do have to go into executive session, the subcommittee.
After the interviews?
No, the interviews are an executive session.
The interviews are in executive.
Yeah.
So does that mean, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, so you'll circulate the scoring?
Prior to our meeting on the
Fourth.
4th, would that be?
Yeah, can they look at all the documents? Yes, so
Yeah.
we'll have
In
all the,
public, yeah.
we'll have all the scores in.
Yeah.
We will have interviewed, and so you'll see our work, and we'll talk about it, and talk about our final list that we wanna push to MSBA, and if you guys are all happy with our work, we'll take a vote on it. Does that sound reasonable to everybody?
Now, just a quick clarification though, is that executive session of the interviews limited to the subcommittee?
Yeah, that is a good question.
That's a great question. It was for us, but, so I'm gonna probably say yes,
I think,
but I don't know.
well, school committee, when you do executive, you could have people there, but they just can't talk. No. No, no, Christine's giving me a no shake, okay.
I think it's just the subcommittee.
All right, so just the subcommittee on that day will do executive, and do I need to rethink the location? Because I believe we have the second floor room here for the interviews. Is that still okay for executive? Yeah, okay.
So
would
don't come to the interviews.
Don't come to the
You
interviews.
get someone at the door, officer.
Is that like, are we certain about that, or should we get an opinion on that?
You really wanna be there?
Well, if people want to show up, and like if I want to be there, I'm not on the committee. As you know, I would kind of like to be there to hear what's going on. But
you'd be safe and you just post it as a whole committee.
Yeah, the whole committee can go in executive session.
I would just
Yeah.
post it as the whole.
But the only scorers
Would be the subcommittee.
will be the
Yeah,
subcommittee.
Well, it would be the subcommittee,
Scoring,
yeah.
but your whole committee, okay, post,
Yeah.
post it as the whole committee, let's post everybody.
Right. I'll post everybody.
Perfect.
Okay.
Understand when you come in, I believe it's that room, not this one.
Correct, yeah, sure.
And so we'll make it so the subcommittee's like in the front row, and everyone who's not in the subcommittee, if you wanna listen, sit in the back, right? Then we'll have the interviews, and, so the first one is 2, we're doing 45 minutes, so there's a 2, a 3, and a 4, and then depending on whether or not we have 1 or 2 more, there would be a break, a little break, and then 2 more. I can't tell you at the moment where we'll be on that, but you'll see it when I post it. Okay?
cool.
And we'll have food for you.
we'll provide food.
So the only thing I'm
Thank you.
thinking is, if it is a full committee posting, and not everyone wants to go, you need to have quorum to go into executive session.
Also true.
Well, there's four of us, so I need,
I'm just putting
yeah,
it out there.
no.
I think anybody who wants to go, put them on the subcommittee.
Then they have to score.
That's four.
Can I just get a show of hands? Are there 4 people who think they would come to the interview?
What date is the interviews again? Sorry, I know you.
26.
I was gonna try to come.
You what?
I was gonna try to work out.
Okay, there's one. Peter, you thinking?
Lucky.
Okay. Robert's not here too. I can ask Robert Worth.
As long as you have a quorum, that's all I'm saying. 'Cause if you don't, you can't get it going into executive session. If you
That's
post
true.
it,
You
that's
start
fine.
with a whole meeting and then you vote to go in executive. Right. So you know what? You're all gonna need to come.
No,
Either that or
well,
you
it's
just
either
do
that or it's
before.
just a subcommittee.
Let's do the subcommittee.
Yes, if you don't make it a full meeting, you make it a subcommittee.
If it's a subcommittee,
No, that's my question.
can't
Can
the
the subcommittee be an
vote
executive
to go
session?
into
Or do you have to
executive?
go from
Yes.
full to
Does it have to be an
executive?
executive session in that? It does.
Yes,
Right.
the subcommittee can vote to go in executive connection, but if you have a whole committee meeting, then you need everyone here to have the meeting.
So why
We
not
would
just
need
move
8.
it to the subcommittee?
We would need 8 of the 11 if we do a full committee.
It puts it at risk, Carolyn. It's okay.
Well, Bill wants to come and you
I'll-
wanna
I
come,
can-
that's 2.
When do we get that 12th member?
I
But
talked to
can
Mike
you,
Quinlan about
but if
that.
someone is not in the subcommittee and they wanna show up, can they just be in?
You
Oh, no,
can't
once
go
they
in
show up, they start.
executive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then anyone could come in executive, so no, they can't
And
just.
you can't, if you add to the subcommittee, you have to.
Then you gotta
I have
change it
to
with
change it and go back to it.
Yeah, I don't wanna change that document, but, Michelle, are you interested?
I'm not sure right now if I'd be able to make it or not.
So let me, you guys are definite, so I just need 2 more. Give me a couple days to check with Robert and Meredith. Tony, you are yay or nay?
I would come.
Okay.
I could zoom in to get you into executive session.
That is true.
That's what we do sometimes, right?
That's- We could do that, Christine. If I had a committee and people couldn't come, but they zoomed and voted executive and then left.
Start via Zoom and then go into.
It's getting messy.
It's getting messy.
Let me think about that. I don't know about that.
You don't want to have the interview, he's driving away, but
Right,
doesn't.
that's what I want to start at 1.
That was not the worst.
That would be-
There's never been anyone that's not on a committee in an executive session?
Yes, executive session means that it's just the members of that committee.
We've done
When you guys have, like,
executive
You can
sessions.
have people.
Executive session in there if you're discussing them. That's when the
Yes.
person who's not in the session is privy to come in.
But like when you guys go into executive session for the school committee, is Jeff there? Because he's on the committee,
Yes,
even though he's not voted?
He's de facto, yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
he's the fact, yeah.
It seems dumb, but, not that Jeff's on the committee, but that you can't invite anybody to join you for executive session.
All right, well, give me a few days. I'll write you all an email to tell us where we ended up. We'll give Michelle a chance to think about it. I will ask Robert or Meredith if they would like to be observers of the interviews. And if they say yes, that's 4, that makes 8. And then we'll post it as a full committee, otherwise it'll be a subcommittee executive session only. That all makes sense with everybody?
That is what it is, it is.
Okay.
No pressure.
Just right now, I gotta check with Robert, Meredith.
What time is I'm trying to remember what time the meeting's at.
What time the first interview? 2 o'clock on the Thursday.
So they're both in school.
Yeah, but Robert might be able to take an afternoon. And Meredith might, I don't know. I mean, I'll put it out to them just to ask. Leo is going to be.
I am, that's true.
That is true. Okay. Well, there you go. That communication longer than I thought. All right. So anything else, or are we ready to adjourn? Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Tony. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Teresa, for a second. Carolyn Casey, yes?
Michelle Kirkby, yes.
Leo, Leo, stay here.
Leo Brem, yes.
Peter Michelson, yes.
Bob Reading, yes. I don't know, no, I was,
Warren, yes.
Lisa James, yes. All right, thank you, everybody.
Oh, okay. And Jane, great meeting.